Hello. Let's talk a little bit about today, CNN 10. It's May 10th. Okay. The first thing they talk about, the rocket. It landed somewhere, they think. Not exactly sure, but it probably landed Saturday night, our time, right there in the Indian Ocean. You can see lots of blue right there. So it didn't land on anybody, which is good. They're not exactly sure where in the Indian Ocean, but probably there. NASA people, that's the United States space program. Yeah, they said you did a bad thing, China. Yeah, they weren't too happy. They said you need to do things responsibly. If you make a rocket go up in the air, make it come down safely. They didn't do that. The next thing CNN 10 is going to touch on are jobs for April 2021. And so, of course, with the pandemic, a lot of people were out of work. Economists were hoping that April was going to be a month where jobs just shot up. They didn't. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't as good as expected. And CNN 10 is going to point to a number of reasons, but one that I would like to highlight, and that is some people are actually making more by staying home. So the government, a couple months ago, passed a bill, and it allowed people to receive aid, more aid per week for unemployment. And so a lot of people don't want to go back to work. Maybe they're afraid they're going to get the virus, but also, let's say, I'm going to make more if I stay home, or if I go to work, I'll make less. So, people, I would do the same thing, stay home, make more money. So that's one problem. Still, a lot of people cannot find jobs. Think about a local restaurant. I'm not sure if you've heard of Pedro O'Hara's. They've been around for like maybe 10 years, maybe more. And they have to close because they can't find anybody to work. And we learned about gas prices. Gas prices are going up by quite a bit. And part of the reason is people who drive the trucks aren't going back to work. They found other jobs. It's really hard to find people who are driving trucks. If you can't drive a truck to get the gasoline to the gas stations, that whole supply and demand thing we talked about, the supply of something, how much you have of something, the demand, how much people want it. So, and we'll be talking about road trips too this summer. A lot of families might be taking road trips. So like 70% or something of American families probably are going to take a road trip this summer. Who knows? Your family might be part of that 70%. So more people driving, it means more gas is needed. But unfortunately, it looks like the supply is not going to get to the gas stations as often as it once did. So gas goes up. The more something is needed, usually the more the price for it goes up. Chlorine. Not sure if anybody has a pool. I do not have a pool, but my brother does. And I was just talking with him last night. His pool is still totally green because he cannot find chlorine. Again, it's hard to find people to work. I guess this one is a little bit different because there's also a fire at a chlorine factory that hurt the supply. There isn't as much chlorine to go around as there was last year. But summer travel plans with the road trips, they might be close to pre-pandemic numbers. Pre-pandemic, before the pandemic started, like the summer of 2019, the number of trips that families are taking, it's close. It's close. I think it's like 70% this summer, whereas in 2019 and before, it was closer to 80%, but it's getting up there. Rental cars are getting hard to get, though. So another thing, the supply is just not there. So some people have rented U-Hauls. If you know anything about that company, they rent out trucks so that you can move, pretty much, move your furniture from one place to another. Interesting story. I think the last one, yeah, cicadas, little bugs that make a lot of noise. And I guess every 17 years, this species of cicada comes up from the ground. So they stay buried for like 17 years and then they come up and then they look for mates. And then their mating call, the guys have a mating call that's really loud, louder than an airplane. So that's going to happen. Not around here, but basically like the mid-Atlantic states. Can I pull this up? When we talk about the mid-Atlantic states, we are talking about, I probably can't get it. Maybe I can. We're talking about states like Maryland, Virginia, possibly New Jersey. So that's like the mid-Atlantic because of the Atlantic Ocean here, kind of in the middle of the East Coast there. So that's mid-Atlantic, and that's where mostly you'll find these cicadas. So a little bit in the Midwest, like Ohio, but that's pretty much it for CNN 10. Hope you enjoy. I think it was a pretty good one today. It was like, I would rate it probably B, maybe B minus. Nothing outstanding, just okay. Not bad.